Hello and welcome into your rapid fire week 4 picks for the NFL season. I am Ryan and let's get into it. Starting tomorrow with the Cardinals versus the Seahawks, where the Seahawks are favored at -1.5 points. After watching my Cardinals play offense last week, I don't have any faith that they can do anything offensively this week against a Seahawks team that has absolutely dismantled their opponent the last 2 weeks. My hope is that the Cardinals will win. My belief is that the Seahawks are a bet to win this one on the -1.5 this week, so I'm taking the Seahawks, unfortunately. Minnesota Vikings versus Pittsburgh Steelers. The Vikings are favored at -2.5, and I believe that the Vikings will win at -2.5. After the way their defense played last week and the way Carson Wentz performed last week, I feel like they're going to overpower the Steelers, whose defense hasn't looked that great so far this year. This will definitely be closer than last week's game where they demolished the Bengals, but at the same time, I think they'll still pull out the victory and get the -2.5 in this one. New Orleans Saints versus Buffalo Bills. The Bills are favored at -15.5. That's absolutely a gigantic total. I don't know how I can take that. At the same time, if there's one team I think could win by -15.5 against the Saints, it is the Bills. But I'm not going to take the Bills at -15.5. I'm going to take the Saints at +15.5 because it's such a gigantic number. And I feel like the Bills might be coasting through this one and may just want to get, a nice easy win. So they may not try to run up 16 points on them. The Chargers versus the Giants. Now this is an interesting one because Jackson Dart will be starting for the Giants this week. If Russell Wilson was starting for the Giants, I would take the -6.5 all day long and twice on Sundays, and I'm still inclined to take that. But I'm a little bit nervous about it with Jackson Dart starting at quarterback now. Still give me the Chargers at -6.5 because of how they performed so far this season, but I'm not quite convinced because I haven't seen the Giants play with Jackson Dart in the regular season yet, so we'll see how they do. Washington Commanders versus Atlanta Falcons. This one's fairly simple to me, whether Mariota or Daniels plays at quarterback for the Commanders. -2.5 for the Commanders is an absolutely easy pick for me. I'm taking the Commanders all day. The Falcons just lost to the Carolina Panthers 30-0, guys. Do we need to know anything else about this game? I don't think I need to say any other stats or anything else. Phoenix has looked horrible. The Commanders are going to get -2.5 on this one for sure. I really feel confident about this one. Philadelphia Eagles versus Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Eagles are favored -3.5 in this game. Don't count out those Buccaneers. I might have taken a -2.5 total for the Eagles, but I'm not taking a -3.5 total for the Eagles. I'm taking the Buccaneers +3.5 in this game. The Eagles haven't looked like the powerhouse that they were in the last year, but they have been finding ways to win. But the Buccaneers have been doing the same thing, finding ways to win with that Baker Mayfield magic, and Ibuka has been absolutely amazing for him as well. I think I'm taking the Buccaneers +3.5 in this game, and I think the Buccaneers might win. Cleveland Browns versus the Detroit Lions. Now, don't get fooled by this game, everybody. The Browns just showed that they could shut down a Packers team that I have picked to win the NFC this year. And -8.5 on a Lions team that is really good. Still may be too big of a number based on how they performed against the Packers last week. I think I'm taking the Browns +8.5. And the Browns have been really good to me in the spread this year. So I think taking them +8.5 in this game is a pretty good thing to do. Even if they lose by a touchdown, I think their defense is really good this year. And I'm betting on their defense to do +8.5 even though the Lions are going to win this game. Panthers versus the Patriots. The Patriots are favored at -5.5 in this game, but Carolina just beat those Falcons, as we talked about, 30-0 last week. So who knows, maybe the Panthers have another rabbit inside the hat. Maybe it wasn't just a hat with one rabbit, maybe it was a hat with 2 rabbits. But no, I'm going to take the Patriots -5.5 in this game. If you hear any jingles in this video, my dog's playing with his toy and his collar's jingling around. So Tennessee Titans versus Houston Texans. Now the Texans are favored at -6.5, but they've looked horrible offensively all season. I have no reason to believe that they're going to change even though they're playing the Titans this week. And while I do think the Texans are going to win this game, I think I'm going to take the Titans at +6.5 in this one because the Texans haven't proven to me one bit that they can beat a team by a touchdown because they haven't beaten anybody yet this year. Heck, the Titans may be able to pull off an upset in this one. So stay tuned for upset alert. The Texans are on it this week. San Francisco 49ers are favored -3.5 versus the Jacksonville Jaguars this week. And I see no reason to believe that they won't get that 3.5, even though they're going to trot out possibly their 3rd string quarterback this week. I don't know who the quarterback's going to be, but what I do know is the 49ers will find a way to win somehow. And it'll probably be by 4 or 5 points. After they beat my Cardinals this last week, I'm going to pick them to win this week, and I'm picking them -3.5 against the Jaguars, who have been impressively unimpressive as other people have stated this year. Next game up is the Indianapolis Colts versus the Los Angeles Rams. The Rams are favored -3.5, but do you think I'm going to pick against Indiana Jones and the Indianapolis Colts after they started 3-0? This is the most magical story of the season so far. I'm taking the Colts at +3.5, and I think they're going to win this game. I don't know why the Rams are favored to win. Pick the Colts with the magic pick this week. Don't fall into the trap of the Rams. The Colts are going to win again, and they're going to get the +3.5 as well. The Bears are favored at -1.5 this week against the Raiders. Now the Bears are probably getting a little bit inflated this week because they beat the Cowboys so easily last week. But don't get fooled by that Cowboys defense, everybody. I think the Raiders could possibly win this game, and it's going to be a really close game. I'm leaning towards taking the Raiders +1.5, but I really have no idea what's going to happen in this game. Will the Bears fall down to earth, or will they use the momentum from last week to end up winning this game as well? I have no idea. This is a coin toss this week, but I'm going to take the Raiders at plus 1.5, and I think they could win this game. Baltimore Ravens versus Kansas City Chiefs. The Ravens are favored at minus 2.5, and I have no reason to believe that they won't win this game against the Chiefs and hand the Chiefs their third loss of the season in just 4 weeks. The Ravens have scored the most points for a team that is 1-2 in a very long time. I think they are the best 1-2 team I have ever seen, and I think that the Ravens are going to win this game by 3 points pretty easily. I think that the Chiefs defense is going to have a hard time stopping them. But the Ravens defense hasn't looked much better, so maybe the Chiefs can get some momentum going and get some offense this week as well. But give me the Ravens minus 2.5. As long as Derrick Henry doesn't fumble again in the fourth quarter to cost his team the game. Sunday Night Football, we have the Packers versus the Cowboys. The Packers are favored at minus 6.5 in this game, and I think they're going to get that. The Cowboys looked awful last week, and losing to the Bears, their defense looks like probably the worst defense in the NFL right now. And with Micah Parsons having something to prove in this game, their offense may look awful again this week as well. I don't think CeeDee Lamb's going to be back this week, and Jordan Love and the offense of the Packers are going to absolutely feast against this weak Dallas Cowboys defense. Give me the Packers to win and also minus 6.5. We have another Monday night doubleheader. I really hate these because you have to watch one game while you're also watching the other game. The first game is the Jets versus the Dolphins. This will be the game that probably no one's watching, but they'll watch it for an hour until the other game comes on. And the Jets, who almost ended up pulling off an upset against the Buccaneers last week, even though they weren't able to, still was a pretty impressive showing. My dog is being the most annoying piece of crap right now. I'm more inclined to take the team who has the plus in games where I have no idea who's going to win. And since I don't have any idea who's going to win between these two awful teams, I'm going to take the Jets plus 2.5. And I think the Jets could win. I think the Dolphins could win. It depends on which team shows up for each of the teams. Will it be the Jets team that almost beat the Buccaneers, or will it be the Dolphins team who competed pretty well against the Bills? Give me the Jets plus 2.5 though. And in the second game of the doubleheader Monday night, we have the Broncos versus the Bengals. The Broncos are favored at minus 7.5 in this game, but they've given me no reason to believe this season that their offense is good enough that they can win a game by minus 7.5 or more, even against Jake Browning and the Bengals. So unless the defense gets a defensive tutty, I'm taking the Bengals at plus 7.5 this week. But I do think the Broncos will win this game. What do you think of my picks? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you for all the love and support. We are currently at 55 subscribers at the time of making this video, so all the love and support means a lot. Thank you so much for watching this video. We'll have a conversation in the comments about your picks, and I'll see you soon with my next video. Bye-bye.